The body is not powered by food or glucose. The body is powered by spin or frequency. What's going on, my high vibrational expressions of God on earth? This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33. This is intro number 4. Actually, number 5. My bad. Intro number 5. Tomorrow we'll start the 30 routines, or 30 principles, or 30 processes that make ATP out of sound, out of frequencies, waves, verbs, vibrations, and light. This, my brothers and sisters, is the ability to power matter by encoded light. It's a new day or new way that is similar to the Tesla coil, but it's a 144-word sound light mathematical musical matrix that's based upon the numbers and the letters and the colors that has this remarkable power or ability to amplify, to animate, and to awaken. Right now, you run off of glucose and or ketones. After the next 30 days, the body will be reprogrammed to run off of frequencies, waves, in a quantum state, vector state, which is this ability for you to activate your own ATP and ADP with sound, with specific activation codes that are hidden, lying dormant inside of the DNA. The ability for you to awaken your own frequencies, your own wave, your own DNA through this thing that we call sound or spintronics, which is going to allow you to oscillate and vibrate on a frequency or on a level where there is no devil. From the perspective of the devil simply means that there is an interference pattern. Once we're able to remove the interference pattern because of your amplification, that means that you are so excited. You're so amplified that your spin is so powerful that you go within. You automatically win when you go in. You automatically win when you personally go in. These 30 power principles will allow you to collapse waves into form because of the intensity of your frequency. You are going to frequent a particular thought so often that it's going to animate your chi. And that chi allows you to be. It is this new animated chi that's more powerful and more important than anything else on the planet, because the human body was not designed to actually live off food. It was designed to actually live off light and sound through the 144 light and sound matrices that are called cymatics. Color. So color is sound and light that amplifies. You are nothing but a sound light thing. You are a photon. You are a phonon. But the inability for us to really, really, truly understand, so they gave us rely upon systems. So you and I want to be safe or saved instead of being right or oscillating in our frequencies, waves, and vibrations that we've been gifted by God and or source code. The inability for us to be. So the quest that we are embarking upon during the next 30 days is going to show you how the principles like fasting, breathing, and exorcism and exercise, the principles like not being anxious for nothing, but in all things by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Let your request be made known unto God, and the peace of God that passes all understanding will be downloaded into your DNA. Then, my anointed brother, then, my beautiful educated sister, your spin allows you to go within. This is Spintronics, as I taught, 20 years ago. Now, the statements, the mental states that I'm establishing today, is a neuroscience behind resiliency. You cannot quit because your spin allows you to go within. And once you go within, you're guaranteed to win. That means you can never not win. That means you could never be in a state of doubt. You could never be in a state of fear. You could never be in a state, everything that you're feeling right now, you won't feel it anymore. Because as soon as you feel it, the brain is going to remind you that you're already in it. As soon as you feel it, the brain source code will remind you that you are designed to win it. So long before there was such thing as matter, there was fire beings. There were light beings. The fire and light beings, they drop down into the trillions and trillions of cells, and they create tiny spinning vortices. These vortexes, these vectors, these quantum state vectors became ATP and ADP synthesis. This is how the cell is powered, by sound, light. But we got conned into eating. Digestion is a Luciferian construct, contrary to popular belief. Unfortunately, the cells now are being powered by glucose and fructose. These are all Luciferian constructs. You're not designed, my brother. You're not designed, my sister. You are a spirit. You have possession of a soul. You manifest through a body. You are a photon and a phonon being. You are a tiny particle. So when a photon and a phonon, which are tiny particles of energy, pass through a quantum information holographic, that'd be you, brother. That'd be you, sister. You are a graph that is holy or follow. HOLO is HOLY. Don't tell nobody I told you. This is a quantum state vector wave of spinning light that is encoded with 144 activation codes. If you were to wrap your brain around the 144 activation codes and or frequencies, man, you would be a dangerous individual. As a quantum state, you are in a constant frequency range that is manifested, influenced, established by your mental disposition. And unfortunately, we do not understand that when the frequency or the faster something spins in its own 144 sound and light pattern, something happens. Whenever something spins in its sound and light pattern, it creates something called entropy, or not entropy, but the ability to override what we call entropy. Because each proton and photon carries a entity and or energy. This proton and this proton that carries the energy. Inside of the proton and the proton, this entity or this energy, it has a spiral of light that is expressed as a wave that moves through space-time, carrying the direct rhythm and resonance. And when that spiral crosses the ATP motor inside of the mitochondrial DNA, bam, unlimited chi. So everything depends upon you, my brother. It depends upon you, my sister. The faster the spin, the faster you go within. It's extremely important that we understand this, that the faster the spin, the faster you go within. And the faster you go within, the faster you win. That's how we get to the other side. That's how we under, over, and understand Planck's constant, which is multiplied by the angular frequency. That just simply means that in order to win, you got to go within. This is called, again, Spintronics. The ability for us to under, over, and understand that the faster we spin, the faster we go within, the faster we go within, the faster we win. So all life, everything that you've been taught, everything that you know is a half truth, because the faster you. So if you depend upon something outside of you to create the spin, you cannot win, because the faster you spin, the faster you go within. But what if you don't know you? To the degree that you know you, that's the degree that you spin. The faster you spin, the faster you go within. And the faster you go within, the faster you win. Notice the amount of times I said you. Now, unfortunately for the average Epigenetic, we've been programmed by the dominant culture. Because remember, if someone else makes a decision for you, then you don't feel you made the decision. Then you don't have to take the blame or take responsibility for why you don't win. So now you are in defiance mode. When you are in a state of defiance, it's because somebody gave you some bad advice based upon your processes. But unfortunately, my brother, unfortunately, my sister, all advice is bad advice if it's not your advice. Understand? What that simply means in English is the fact that when we talked about the quantum vector state, we're talking about spintronics, we're talking about plasmatics, we're talking about photons. And unfortunately, what we'll be doing for the next 30 days is giving you your spin. Now, this will hurt your brain a little bit if you have not been exposed to the fact that when we are in a state of reactance is a state that is automatically activated when you feel. Because we are designed to feel. We don't understand that we're not designed to win. We're not technically designed to get results. Even though every Tom, Dick, and Harry is in pursuit. Right now you have a goal. We're not designed for goals. We're designed for roles. Contrary to popular belief. So sorry. Thankfully for you, though, you enrolled in the next 30 days where we're going to go through the 30 hidden principles, power principles. Now, we've talked about these before, but we've got to come at it from a different perspective so that way we can activate your spin. Now, the only way to activate the spin is for you to go within. Now, you are an encoded light being, unfortunately. And fortunately, we don't open understand that we are incarcerated. We don't understand. And we don't know that we are in jail. You are incarcerated. You are incarnate. You are a God trapped inside of dirt. And the only way to get out of the dirt is to use a specific incantation that God put inside of you. It's like abracadabra. It's like the genie in Aladdin's lamp. Y'all remember that movie, Aladdin? So when you rub that lamp, that simply means when you activate that code, zing, you don't need food anymore. Because the body is, remember, digestion, eating food is a Luciferian construct. You're not supposed to be doing it. You're supposed to be eating light and eating sound. Because spirits, remember, you really, technically, you're a spirit. Now, somebody trick you into dumbing down your spirit to fit into a soul. And then they trick the soul to dumb itself down to fit into a body. So now you are trapped inside of your own incantation. That's why if you look at all of the lesser keys and the greater keys and all the satanic books, you'll see all of these computation or transmutation circles. They all have sigils and symbols and runes to keep your ass trapped in Groundhog's Day. Negro, that is linguistics. It's language. It's math, it's music, and it's linguistics. That's Lucifer, the god of gnosis or knowledge. Now, we perish for a lack of overstanding Lucifer system. So the Bible says, my people perish for lack of gnosis. The god of gnosis is Lucifer, Shackless, Yabato, Sabato, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Leviathan. So unfortunately, we get exposed to all of these different frequencies, waves, verbs, and vibrations, and we don't know that we are the supreme frequency, wave, verb, and vibrations. So we bow down, and we volunteer to put our unlimited chi in a limited. It's like the genie. Unlimited power, itty-bitty living space. That'd be you, boo-boo. Unlimited power, itty-bitty living space. You gotta go back and watch Aladdin's lamp, especially the one that, with Will Smith in it. Check it out, bro. Remember they put all the shishnets in the me. That's why you are moved by movies. Now, we must unite, educate, elevate, invest, and build. But unfortunately, we cannot unite, educate, elevate, invest, and build because we're fighting against each other because of a foreign pheromone that we talked about yesterday. You picking up a smell, but it's foreign. You remember smells. That's why they give y'all niggas perfume. Because they know smell. You smell good, feel good. But it's Lucifer's smelling or spelling. To cast a spell, one of my spells. That's how I control your nickel tide amine. NMN. Then I control your nickel amine, adenine nucleotide, which the dominant culture calls NAD. Now, these are precursor molecules to control your mama or your mother or your mater or your mater. Remember I said you have to go through your mama, not your daddy's DNA. They control you, boo-boo, with your money. The inability to understand that the dominant culture is dominant because they overstand nickel or the Nicolaitans. Now, remember, God only hates one thing according to the Helios Biblios. Contrary to popular belief, he said, I hate the Nicolaitans. Remember the book that I wrote on the Nicolaitans? Oh, that's what I told you. These principles will destroy your negative habitat. Unfortunately, remember, when you remove one pattern, you must replace it with a more powerful pattern or 7 more patterns worse than the pattern you just got rid of to set up shop. Therefore, the first thing you got to do is establish a new life-sustaining pattern. You must establish a new wave of spinning sound, light, language, math, musical language. Otherwise, you're going to be somebody else's BITCH. Because that's the system. Now, I didn't create the system. I'm just sharing the system. The faster you spin, the faster you go within. And the faster you go within, the faster you win. So this is all Spintronics. But unfortunately, my anointed brother, the state vector and the wave vector that produces the probability vector or the probability function means that you're not probably functioning according to your wave state. Now remember, you're a wave. Then you select a particle based upon the probabilities. Now there's unlimited probabilities. So you are a wave of spinning sound and light, math and music. But you are already encoded with 144 linguistical epigenetic matrices or expressions. So you already got a probability function. So you already got a meteoros. But unfortunately, my brother, my sister, somebody told you, hey, bro, I got a better probability for you. Now you designed to be, like me, God designed me to be a maestro, a master teacher 33. Now before I got here, I had, 64 other meteoroses. And I started 28 different businesses. They all failed miserably. How come? Because it wasn't in alignment with my God-given assignment. Now, I could be out throwing shit up against the wall and see what sticks, Brother Osama. I could continue just throwing up, guessing, which is what most people do. So most people live and die. They spend their whole life hoping and wishing and pondering and trying different shitnesses instead of aligning their mind with their God-given design. So the point of the next 30 days is for you to align your mind with your God-given design. Now, everybody got a different frequency, wave, verb, and vibration. No two people have the same iris. No two people have the same fingerprint. No people have the same cellular renewal pattern. No two people have the same cellular renewal pattern. One more time for the people in the back. No two people have the same cellular renewal patterns, contrary to popular belief. See, people don't want results. They're designed by God. People chase feelings. They don't chase results. The only way that you feel good if you are in a role, if you're in a step-by-step process that makes you feel loved, valued, and respected. That way you get out of the defiance mode of feeling forced. Nobody want to be told what to do. We're all grown folks up in this mother. We're not little boys and little girls. We don't need no reverends, no doctors, no bishops. The fact that you believe that is why you are in a disrespectful, defiant mode. But another nigga will tell you, boy, go over there and pick up that box. You're automatically, this nigga think he's talking to. Automatically. You don't even know why. Even while I'm talking, you are fighting that defiant spirit that says, who Doc think he is? Who this little mutt think he's talking to? It's an automatic expression of the soul. Because it's your birthright to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You're not designed to kiss somebody else's behind. Contrary to popular belief. You're not designed to kiss no other Negroes behind. You shouldn't be bowing down to the Pope and kissing his ring finger. Who is the Pope? If you hit the Pope in here with a baseball bat, he's going to bleed out just like anybody else. So I'm sorry, my brothers. My apologies. You're not designed to kiss nobody's ass. Although you may be programmed to, you ain't designed to. So there's something in you that lets you know something. I'm going to force myself to listen to this little short black man, but something keeps telling me that I need to be doing my own shit. That's that inner chi that's letting you know you're designed by God to be. 144 linguistical epigenetic codes. You are encoded. So all we're going to do is activate the code. So all I'm going to do is push your buttons on purpose. I'm just going to trigger you. Maybe I might get yourself quick. So sorry. No refunds. Cost of this program is only $199 for the next 30 days. And this workbook is going to go through 30 principles. It's going to fuck up your cheat. Because it's going to activate what you are truly designed to be. So you can't be fake no more. Are you going to be angry with me? So I'm telling you up front. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to give you the King James version. You used to King James. So you're not really used to operating in your spin. So the ATP and the ATP, this is the light synthesis of the 144 number, word, color codes that turn your DNA codons. Right now, it's like the movie Lucy 2. It's not even out yet. But what I'm giving you is the movie Lucy 2. So Lucy is, remember Lucy 1, she became everywhere. Well, there's a frequency wave of vibration that says, you cannot unite, you cannot educate, you cannot elevate, you cannot invest, and you cannot build. In other words, you cannot become source. You can be aware of source, you can worship source, but Negro, you cannot be source. Because the anti-source, when you be source, you're a threat to the anti-source. Because now your light is shining so powerful and so bright, you're going to amplify, you're going to animate, and you're going to awaken other Negroes. You can't have that because then everybody's going to leave the plantation. Ain't nobody going to work in the factories anymore. So, Brother Summer, the dominant coach can't have you doing that, bro. So sorry, you can't turn your light on. You cannot connect to the source because if you activate your DNA and you go from series 3 to series 9 and you activate all 9, some say 12 codes of your DNA, you're going to start oscillating and vibrating. You're going to start releasing some pheromones and you're going to give off this scent and you're going to attract free males. And all these free males are going to be drawn to you like a fly that's drawn to shiznits. Okay, man, that's not a good visual. How about bee that's drawn to honey? So when you activate the 9-ether EEA, that's hidden inside of your, what we call DNA. Oh, sucky now. You are now a 9-dimensional, 12-dimensional ENOCH, Enoch, ether, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen. Oh, you just fucked up the world. So the things beyond are now available. Now you got the ability to comprehend. Now you are oscillating at the highest level of the game. You need no techniques. You are the technique. You need no technology. You are the technology. Now you have the ability to acknowledge, appreciate, and allow. You are a Tesla coil. You don't need a Tesla coil. Now you are a global electrical magnetic mind reader and controller. Now you're comfortable being uncomfortable. Now you know how to love yourselves. Because now you are it's all go to this rhythm. Now your 9-ether DNA activation code, the science behind condensed sunlight is you. You are God eternal within the body. You are your bleed, shin, vorhe, the original science of mind. Now you on a level where there is no devil. Now you are activating and activated your wealth codes. You are now a individual expression of God on earth. For the first time in your life, it's like the Matrix. You have demystified wealth, health, wisdom, and great relationships. Now you are the maestro. You are the maestro. Now people are drawn to you the same way bees are drawn to honey. Because you have the pheromones of resiliency. You won't even be able to explain it yourself. You just automatically know because you are remembering. You're not creating anymore. You just returning back to the prior existence. Your prior existence was source code. Now you are God eternal within the body. You've activated all 144 attributes and characteristics that have been given to you by God. You're a dangerous person now. This next 30 days is going to change your entire life. Because it's already changed mine. You will have a calm, because remember, you will have this, Bible says peace, and it passes all understanding, including your own. It's just not going to make sense. So I'm warning you up front. You will no longer be able to get into an animated state that's based upon external stimulation. Now you are in a constant, you like the Incredible Hulk. You don't have to get angry. Shit, you're already angry. But it's a righteous indignation. Now you wake up every day in a righteous indignation state. You ready to whoop ass and take names. All names. Of no vibrational frequencies, waves, and vibrations. So you everywhere you go, you're going to show up and show out. And fortunately, depending on how, the cookie crumbles, once again, you're going to win. Because remember, the whole system is designed to keep you from your shine. Just like in the movie The Shining. Because if you start to shine, because remember what shine is now. Shine is the vibrational equivalent of the real source on top of the fake source. It's like, you got some cheap steak sauce, and then somebody gives you some A1 steak sauce. And you notice that there's a distinct difference between that little fake sauce you got from Dollar General and the real A1 sauce. You see, brothers and sisters, there is a specific, this is dangerous, there's a specific 144 sound and light pattern. It's specific only to you. And it's inside the 144 word epigenetic activation circle. That specific is so specific that it is your own. That's how specific it is. Now, when you look at it, you got to do nothing else. Just look at it. Because it's a mandala. And it activates, it hits your cells recognize it, because remember, when you see a color, it activates a specific code. So there's 144 colors. And you have your own 144 colors. Now, each one of those colors represent 144 words. And each one of these 144 words, they represent 144 numbers. Now, these 144 colors, 144 words, 144 numbers, they are all converted, we'll use that term, into what we call sound and light, phonon and photons patterns. Now, these phonon and photon patterns are power. And you got to remember, these patterns are so powerful that it powers the human body. So you won't feel the need to activate the parasites in your gut. Remember, according to this same chapter of peace, that's what Lucifer lives. So when we eat, we feed Lucifer. Well, we don't know it, but the body does not need food. It needs sound and light. But we don't understand. Not us, other folk. So these patterns that we're talking about, because again, patterns are power. Very important. You got your own God-given pattern. Now, when you get your pattern activated, then it becomes perpetual. So the pattern turns into perpetual power, then you release the pattern because now you've activated your source. So the more energy it contains, or the more energy that you access, you no longer need to access it to rule the pattern, because now you're accessing the power through purpose. So you use the power to activate purpose, because purpose is inside of, or purpose is source. So these patterns contain more power. These patterns contain what we call an entity on energy. And it's inside of what you and I call proton and phonons. So the pattern contains energy in the form of what we call a proton and a phonon. And it's very, very important because this is how we connect biology or science and spirituality. And this is why a lot of people get mixed up, because this is why there is division between the two when they both are saying the same thing. That, patterns are power or purpose. Purpose is source. So these patterns contain energy in the form of these protons and these pronons inside of each and every one of our cells. And these protons and these pronons carry energy as a spiral of light. And so when we understand that, okay, this spiral of light is inside of our cells. So this spiral of light is a wave. Then it collapses when we exercise a specific resonance and coherence. So it's a light of wave. And that wave collapses into a specific particle. But it only collapses into a specific particle when the correct, so it has to be correct. coherence and the correct, what we call resonance, which is nothing but the word sound or re-sound. So when you get into a specific state or mental disposition, that's the correct or that's the specific coherence and resonance that allows your DNA codes inside of the mitochondria, the ATP and the ADP motor. It's just like it's like a needle that you place on side of the old LP record players way back in the day. You will put the vinyl onto the record player. You have to pick up the needle and you have to place it specifically on a specific track or a specific groove in order for it to play a specific song. So that's what your 144, so your own 144 colors, your own 144 words, your own 144, 4 and 4 is 8, 8 is 9, activating the 7, aka 9 chakra system or wheels. So the 144 numbers are converted into sound and light, or what we call a phonon and a photon pattern. And we know that patterns create and or patterns are power. So we got power. It's just like plugging your cell phone into a charger for the charge. If you plug it into the electrical socket because it has power. So your pattern contains energy. Now remember, your pattern is in the form of the life optimization circle, or in your name and your date of birth. Because God put his frequencies, waves, verbs, and vibrations inside of what we call letters, numbers, colors. So your patterns, they contain energy. Your pattern contains energy. Very important to understand. And your own personal soul, if you have no energy, because you have the wrong pattern. Your pattern contains energy in the form of a proton and phonons, of photons and phonons, atoms, enzymes, molecules, minerals, that carry energy as a spiral of light. And the spiral of light, another way that we can say the spiral of light is a wave of light. And light is, again, sound. So it's a spiral of light and sound. And a spiral of light and sound. Again, all we're doing is explaining what we're going to be doing for the next 30 days. So that way we don't have to explain it. We can just hit the ground running. Because if you understand, just your ears hearing the science allows you to get out of default mode. Because that way, when I'm saying it, you won't feel like I'm telling you what to do. And you won't automatically reject it because you are programmed through what is called cognitive dissonance, because I'm going to be saying stuff that doesn't agree with the reticular activating system. It's going to activate what is called, again, reactance. So the reactance mode is a defiant state. Anytime the brain experiences a frequency wave of verbal vibration that doesn't match the current coherence and resonance. In order to override it, I must explain it using third party. So that way you don't feel like, who this little short black man think he is? Because we have, again, an authority anchor. And this authority anchor, if the person sharing the information is in a position, although it is perceived, of power that comes from resonance or resilience. Most of you guys thankfully see me as someone who is resilient. That is someone who has experienced extreme obstacles and have overcome those obstacles to get to a certain frequency, wave, verbal vibration where you can now assimilate without activating the defiant mode where you automatically reject, regardless of whether the information is right or wrong. Just ding, I'm going to reject it. Automatically, I'm just going to reject it. But if you see that person in a position of authority, and you give them, you allow them to speak into your spirit, it's an allowance. Then this energy, as a spiral of light and sound or a wave that collapses into a specific particle when the correct coherence and resonance is heard and seen. And we're going to add the other senses as well, but primarily going to hear it and see it. So for the next 30 days that we're going to be doing, we'll be engaging in activities that's going to allow you to activate, or first of all, identify and see your own pattern. You're going to see so much power inside your pattern that it may be a little difficult initially for you to over, and understand. I over, and understand. Because just like me, it took me a while. So I understand to make it, it might take you a while. So the information, again, make sure you download and record because, again, what it's doing is going into the it's going to the university. Because the only way to get into the university is you got to have the right spin. So once the spin is turned on, it reverses the chakra. So therefore, you're able to pass the membrane of the mitochondria because you are now operating with the right frequency range. You've got the right coherence. You have the right resonance to bypass, again, the reticular activating system. It goes directly in. So in order to win, again, you got to go in. And then the fact that it's able to go in, zing, now you're able to win. Because now you're able to do something that very few people can do. To get past your own defense mode, your own reactance, your own cognitive dissonance, your own reticular activating system that says reject, reject, fail, abort, abort, abort. Why? It's coming from someone that is not recognized as an authority figure. So how do you know? Well, every time your heart beats, you should be in an elevated, okay, this is how you know for the next 30 days that you are in the right frequency range, like today. The activation codes, the 144, the spinning light, the quantum information holograph that you are that you are accessing, because that's who you really are at your core. So all I'm doing is speaking to, I'm making sure that the mind is full, making sure that you are in a state of self-reflection, so that way you can remain in a state of emotional regulation. For the next 30 days, I'm going to make sure that your mind is full. It's my job. And I got to make sure that the mind is not full of BS. Like right now, the mind is full of fear, doubt, unbelief. Now remember, it's below the threshold of your consciousness. Remember, I'm not saying that, I'm just using science. Because if I tell you, you're going to reject it because you're going to say, who the fuck I think he is telling me? No, I'm not telling you. I'm telling you what Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, and your local HBCU is telling you. So I'm telling you what Dr. David Sinclair, you guys know, so I'll be talking about Dr. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza. So I say this to defuse, to turn off your defense mechanism. Because if anybody come to you, they don't have the right. Now, for some people, I am that. You do see me in that light. But for some of you guys, y'all don't see me that way. That's what money is. So money is the pheromones that you send off that tell other people, like I was telling you guys the other day that Dr. Martinet, so Dr. Martinet sees me in that light. So Dr. Martinet allows me to speak into her life. She yields. And so she don't automatically question the narrative. Now, she may question it later and say, well, Doc said this, but let me just check with him and see if he meant this. And Dr. Martinet will email me sometimes and say, hey, Doc, I noticed you went down this rabbit trail, bro, and just want to double check, You sure, you okay? Everything going all right? So that's the way by which trusted friends and family share, let's use the word, support and care for each other. They don't attack. Like Dr. Morton has never attacked me and said, "Doc, you're full of shit. I listened to your show, man. Shit was whack." Now, I've had other people do that. In all the years I've known Dr. Morton, she's never attacked. She automatically assumed that if I say something, which sometimes I do, I may slip up. But instead of, so what is that? She's showing the fact that she's at that level of awareness that avoids self-criticism of yourself and self-criticism of others. Because you get more bees with honey than you do vinegar. A lot of people are not there yet. A lot of people, that's why you see these trolls on Facebook and social media that be just launching into people, just like, be going hard. That's why you see people going at the Democrats and the Republicans, and they're full of anger. They don't ever stop and think that maybe that person is having a bad day. Maybe they got bad information. Maybe they, maybe they bumped their head last night. Instead of giving people the benefit of the doubt, a low vibrational person will attack. But Mitch, they just launch out into the deep breath. They don't even consider that there's a possibility that maybe, just maybe, the reason that you're missing the mark is because you considered another person's metrics, which is, again, their lot, their share in your destiny. So as long as I stay in my safe place, then I'm able to, because remember, my protons and my photons, these tiny packages of energy, can only pass through when they are true. So my spirit will automatically reject if the spinning light that's encoded with somebody else's 144 activation code. Okay, my conscious, my spiritual quantum state vector wave, my spinning proton, my plasmonics, photonics, without allowing me to be conned, manipulated, unless I choose to do what the Bible says. I choose to ignore my inner alarm system, my conscious. Let your conscious be your guide. Some of us, we just turn it off. We choose not to choose. Okay? That's okay. You just decide, you know what? I just want to indulge. I just want to go down. I know it's not the right thing to do, but, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm a grown-ass man, so I can do whatever I want. So a source scale say, okay, he wants to drive off the cliff. Let him, her, it drive off the cliff. But right now at this state, you are in a place where you can access the information through the holographic matrix. That information is inside of these 144, along with, again, there's a lot of different ways to access. This is just the system that Source gave me. Because when I asked, okay, how can I go within and win? How can I access my spin? How can I establish mastery and maintenance? What are the power principles that I need to access spiritual effectiveness in the areas of wealth, health, wisdom, and get my toes curled? And when I ask Source for a cistern, like it says in Jeremiah 29, because like it says in Jeremiah 29, I had broken cisterns, as do 99.99999% of all alkylons on and off the planet. Our cisterns can't hold gnosis, can't hold water. So since our cisterns can't hold water, we need new systems. The universe we live in is based upon systems, patterns of power. So your mind must be full of, number one, your system, your cistern. Number two, your mind must be constantly engaged in self-analyzing your own mind that is full, which takes you to number three. That allows you to regulate your electrical magnetic frequency that establishes the spintronics, photonics, that allows you to spin at a frequency range that allows you to win. But it all starts with the mind being full. But the mind is not full of the proper chi. So the power principles to activate and teach the concepts that reinforce a deeper level of over, under, and understanding to sustain the proper spin that allows you to go within. Well, that's the power principle of exploring deeper levels of anchoring. So I can anchor myself in an expansive state, which gets me out of the reactance, which is the state of pretty much 99.99999% of every alkylon on and off the planet. We're all in a state because, again, that's the dominant culture state. So the dominant culture wants you to stay in a state where you are what? Hurt. What does that mean? I walk into you and I say, hey, man, today's a beautiful day, man. You pissed off. Man, what's so fucking good about it, dog? So why you pissed off? Well, I had a bad day. Well, why you had a bad day? Well, I was expecting the check to come in the day that didn't come. Instead of looking around and look at all the other checks you got, looking at how whatever you got, if you just got 2 nickels, some people only got 1. So instead of being thankful, remember what we said at the beginning of the show? What was one of the purposes of the next 30 days? Be anxious for nothing. What does anxious mean? Troubled mind due to overcaring and overextensions, due to unrealistic expectations and misplaced dependencies. So you let somebody else make a decision for you, and then you blame them because they made the decision and it was wrong. Well, if you'd make the decision yourself, you ain't got nobody else to blame but yourself. But we rather give our power to the white man, the blue man, the green man, the monkey, the squirrel, the reverend, the doctor, the bishop. Why? We don't have to take responsibility for ourselves. Nobody want to do that. Nobody really. People say they do, but they don't. Because what does that mean, though? Well, Brother Osama, if I take responsibility for myself and the shit goes wrong, who am I going to blame? So if I don't got nobody to blame, that means I got to look in the mirror and take ownership 100% of where I'm at in my life. How come we don't like doing it? You got to remember, at the base, at the core, all we're doing for the next 30 days is dealing with the spirituality that gives us the psychology of understanding, overstanding, and understanding the defiant state of how we automatically push back against. Remember, this is below the threshold of your consciousness. I'm talking right now, and you are automatically pushing back. You don't really sense it. Unless I'm in a perceived position of authority. And even then, if I'm in a perceived position of you give me respect, you tune in, you listen, you cordial, you don't automatically attack me and go off on me because there is a perceived value. But you can only perceive that value to the degree of the neuroscience of resiliency that we talked about yesterday. Now remember, this is all dark psychology. This shit's only part of the CIA, FBI academies, and certain places where I learned it from. So nobody walking around that I talk to and bump into the average Negro, they don't know shit about what I'm talking about. But it's in your DNA, and I can see it because I look at your behavior the same way the CIA, FBI, the dominant culture do. So all the people that know this, they know why. For example, if a guy is single, I know why he's single. If a girl's single, I know why she's single. If a guy's broke, I know why he's broke. Now remember, he don't know why he's broke. On average, she may not know why she's broke, or they know they're broke, but they don't know how to fix it. So remember, people are attracted to the pheromones that are given off by a fixer. So right now, most people are unknowingly, as I talked about yesterday, when we broke down foreign pheromones. I did a YouTube video, so you check it out. It's on YouTube. Remember, everything we've been taught is a lie. Everything. I got $100,000 that I give you if you can prove me wrong. That anything that you believe, guarantee I can prove it's not true. Guaranteed. Now, your job is to understand the levels of approval, which gets into nobody cares about being right. Nobody wants to be right. We all want to be heard. And we all want to be safe. We think we want to be right. We think the only reason we go to church, the only reason religion exists, is because it makes us feel safe. $100,000 to the Negro or the non-Negro that can prove you wrong. $100,000. If you can prove me that everything that you do is so that you feel safe. You give a shit about being right. You want to know that your children are safe. If your child is in harm's way, would you let somebody put your children in harm's way so you could be right? You want to argue me, Doc? Jesus is Lord. I'm right. I got little Johnny. I'm going to put a bullet in little Johnny's head. So you would choose to stop being right because you want little Johnny to be safe. It's human nature. $100,000 to the Negro. The non-Negro can prove it wrong. Now you got to go to one of the six societies like Skull and Crossbones or the Dynamic Order of the Golden Dawn, or you must become a Mason, or you got to go and become a, go down to Houston like I did, become a Kabbalist, hit the Kabbalah, just don't let your knee hit the ground. Because your knee should not touch the ground for no motherfucker. If you do, you just sold your soul. I don't recommend it. Once you sell it, remember, you really can't sell it because it ain't yours to sell, but that's not safe for the time. They can con you into thinking that you sold it. You can't sell something you ain't got, bro. Not you personally, but because you know. So for the next 30 days, you've got to destroy every belief system that you got, unfortunately. Now remember, like I said at the beginning of the show, ain't no refunds on the $199. Because you're not going to like me for the next 30 days. Especially you, Brother Osama. But it's going to be all right, bro. Just take a deep breath. Remember, we talked about deep nostril breathing. The video I did today. It's on TikTok. While frequent intense training, do double breathing. And do the star breathing. All that shit I've been talking about for the last week. That shit's free. That's worth $100,000. Easy. The last 5 shows that I've done, I learned all that from 6 from, or special ops. They take Navy SEALs to that, and then they call it rescue breathing, rotation breathing. You can sit on the water for 20 minutes just doing rotation breathing. Let's say for another time. Just like I talked to you guys with the ketones. Just like I just tell you that right now, what I just gave you, the human body does not need to digest food. You could live like that guy in India, 75 years, he hasn't eaten no food. Because you're supposed to be living off light. But not sunlight, your light. So I'm going to prove it to you for the next 30 days. I'll prove it to you. That's why fasting is easy for me. I don't recommend it. That's what it does. Because some things only come out through fasting and prayer. Remember, this is the curse of knowing. People don't like you. Why? What is intelligence? Can you be cursed with clarity? Damn straight. Man, do you understand what happens with the curse of knowing too much? Brother Simon know a little bit about that. That's more than that. I know you can, you understand. Now, I just told you about the Nicolaitans. And I just told you that NMN, which is, again, Google Davidson class, security science, longevity science, stopping the telomeres from unraveling off your DNA. Lives forever. The dominant culture is pursuing it, right? But what are they talking about? Nicolaitans. Nicotinamide. It's called NMM. 100 grand to the nigga, non-nigga, they can put it wrong. So that's thing that they're talking about. They're promoting right now on TikTok all over the world. What are they promoting? NAD. What is NAD? Nicotinamide aldine. ADENINE. What's the last? Look at the word. Adenine. Adenine. But the last one is thionucleotide. Nucleo means nuclear. Nuclear means new clay. Nigga, they fucking up your clay. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 15. 100 grand. 100 grand today to the nigga that, or the non-nigga that put it on. Like I said, the next 30 days, I will be sharing shit I've never shared before, and I will never share again. Just off of the 5 intro shows I've done, you got enough information to carry you for the rest of your life. Because now, you've united, you return back to source. When you return back to source, you get, again, 3 words. Animated, amplified, awakened. I call it educated. That allows you to elevate. Now, you got perpetual. You can invest. And then you build. So the 5 keys to the Illumination Roundtable. Shout out to all the members who've joined the Roundtable. And again, thank you guys for the last Roundtable meeting, for everybody that showed up and shared. We'll probably be doing another one, not this Friday, this Saturday. So that way we can, again, continue to connect, hear each other's voices, and continue to build as we establish, again, heaven on earth through the unification, the education, the elevation of the investment in order to build, because there's power in unity, not power in numbers. It's unity. But the enemy knows when 2 or 3 are gathered together. That's it. 2 or 3, ain't nothing numbers. But what 2 or 3 are gathered together. His name. Boom. Transmutation of lower frequency to higher frequencies. Get out of that PTSD that Brother Jim was talking about in the last roundtable meeting that we have from what Dr. Coleman, or Sister Coleman was talking about. Allowing somebody else's narrative to affect your narrative. So that way you are in a holding pattern. And you know it because you keep repeating the same thing. That holding pattern is designed to pull and extract energy. You know it because you don't feel empowered. It's like, and then you start to look older. The reason I look a lot younger than my age is that I'm not going to retire, never going to retire, because my ketones, my nitric oxide, and my myokines that come from being immersed in purpose. So I'm not responding to foreign pheromones. Didn't I tell you what happens to children when they're raised by, when they're not raised by their biological fathers? Because the biological fathers are the only one that can channel aggression. And remember that we talked about with $100,000, if you can prove me wrong, based upon all of the science from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, your historically black college, you are designed by God, not man. Fortunately and unfortunately, since you are designed by God and not man, little boys recognize the pheromones of their biological father. And they don't recognize the pheromones of their non-biological father. I know, because I'm in a step, quote unquote, a non-biological relationship. And all of the statistics, like 10 things, all 10 have and or happen not only in this marriage, but in the 16 children that I raised in my first marriage, but didn't affect my 5. Because my biological pheromones, now we're talking about spiritual pheromones, which is way different from way more, has way more of an impact on you. Because the world we live in, the God of this world is not your God. So you are picking up pheromones that are not yours. Pharaoh, remember the Egyptians had what? Pharaohs. The pharaohs create the moans, or the tones, or the bones, or the zones. But it's the wrong pharaoh. So you taking orders from a father. Remember, you are not of your father, the devil. And the works of your father, the devil, you will do. He was a liar from the beginning. But the devil's not your father. If you are an original life keeping on that has 9 ether DNA. So when I'm talking about Philippians 4:6, you can't be troubled or in a state of over-caring, because then you will be anxious. When it says be anxious, not be anxious for nothing, but in prayer, which means the active state of being involved in your metros. Prayer means that you're actively involved in your purpose. And supplication. Supplications mean that if you're actively involved in your purpose, you are chained and binded and bound to your purpose. So be anxious. You can't be anxious when your mind or your state of being involved. That means that you are chained to thanksgiving. And thanksgiving is you're speaking the language of favors. Thanksgiving means that you have the language of gratefulness. Thanksgiving means that your mind is full of the favors that God has already done. So for the Mitch, if your mind is full of the favors God has already done, past tense, brother. So if your mind is full of the favors that God has already done, you have something called a pleasant and agreeable disposition. Automatic, 100 grand to the nigga that put me wrong. So if your mind is in a pleasant and agreeable state, then, Brother Mitch, only then let your request be made known unto God. Request is a petition. Known means what? That means that you have a thorough knowledge of your request. So some of you guys are asking for a shiznit. You don't know shiznits about it. Like, I want to be a scuba diver, but you don't know shit about scuba diving. You just saw it on the YouTube video. Scuba divers make a lot of money. So you just feel, so God, I want to be a scuba diver. So God is going through your brain and he's like, this nigga don't know shit about scuba diving. But he's submitting a request to me, a petition for scuba diving, and he has no knowledge of it. Next. So your prayers go unanswered. What if you reverse engineer that, Brother Mitch? So that's what we're doing for the next 30 days. Principles. There's 30 power principles. It's a realignment of your assignment. So what if you gain, number one, start at the bottom. Because remember, when you do all this, you get something called peace. But only get pieces. Number one, gain knowledge of what? Your request, that's what you want. So get knowledge of what you want. When you get knowledge of what you want, what do you have? You got a peaceful and agreeable disposition, and your language is grateful. That's called thanksgiving. And so if you gain knowledge of what you want, and you got a peaceful, agreeable disposition, then you are bound to it. That's called supplication. And if you got knowledge of what you want, and you got agreeable, peaceful disposition, and you got grateful language, and you bound to what you want, then your prayers, that means that now you are in state of being involved, and you are so involved in all of the knowledge of what you want and the grateful language and being bound by chains to what you desire because your mind is so immersed and you're so involved in it, you ain't got time to be fucking anxious. You ain't got no time. You can't be worried. You can't be stressed. You can't because your mind is full. So when stress try to get in there, so sorry. No room for anxiety. No room for worry. If you could, it's going to be hard. But if you could, wrap your brain around Philippians 4:6 for the next 30 days. Every thought that you have would manifest because you are in such a high spin. Your spin, your phonons, your photons, your math, your music, and your language are using words of such a high degree of velocity and intensity because they come in directly from the 144 word epigenetic activation codes that comes from your life optimization circle. So we took and expanded the life optimization circle from 4 to 12. Now we at 144. So your circle, the new circle, has 144 colors, 144 words, and 144 letters. And the 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And the 9 ether is how you shine. We start the first power principle tomorrow. And for the next 30 days, we go through the 30 power principles that allows you to oscillate and vibrate through the activation of the 144 epigenetic codes that are placed inside of you by source, which allows you to establish the 3 frequencies of emotional regulation, self-analyzation, and mindfulness, where your mind is always full of the goodness and the favors of what the big G has already done for thee. It's impossible for you to have a bad day. Because even when you walk through the valley of shadow and death, you will fear no evil. Brothers, sisters, I love you. Appreciate you. Remember, regular cost is $4.99. On sale right now for $1.99. Class starts tomorrow. So tomorrow's the last day to get in at the $1.99 price. After that, it goes to the regular price. We'll see everybody in class tomorrow. God bless.